I get a question all the time. How do you keep your childcare expenses low? As most of you know, my husband and I have two adorable children, a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old at this point in time. So that means from the time my youngest son was born, I had two kids in daycare until just recently when my 5-year-old girl started kindergarten. So, how do we keep childcare expenses down? We live right near Boston, and the average, or our leading, I guess, in my view and in my spreadsheet, the leading cost of childcare in this area is about 2 grand per kid per month. When you're an infant, it's a little bit more than that, and as a pre-K, it's a little bit less. So how do we do it? How did we do it? Well, we didn't spend an arm and a leg for childcare, I'll say that. I shopped around. You might notice that a lot of daycare centers, preschools don't post their prices on their website. And that's because they want you to visit the site. They want you to understand what it is you're getting. They want to pull on your heartstrings so that you'll pay a lot of money for childcare. Let me just tell you what we did. When Eleanor was born, we put her in the learning zone in Waltham. We moved to Belmont a few months later, and we transferred her to the learning zone in Belmont. It was around $1,800 a month, I'm pretty sure. So it was still relatively expensive. They tried to hike it up to 2 grand, and I asked them why, and just negotiated them with them and got a little bit of a grandfathered in clause. So then she stayed there until Fred was born. I took 12 months of maternity leave, and sorry, not 12 months, 12 weeks. What am I saying? 12 weeks of maternity leave, and after that, and during that, while I was pregnant, and after, we were talking to a friend of ours who had a lot of nannying experience. She had two kids of her own, and asked her if she had ever considered opening a home daycare. She, God put it on her heart, and she did. She opened a home daycare. So with our two kids, we agreed to a price of $2,500 a month for our two kids. She was watching her two kids and our two kids, and another child joined the home daycare a few months later. So we did that for a year, but it was a long drive. I was commuting like two hours every day, 3 hours if I had to drop off and pick up. So that was a little much. And after a year, we decided to have an au pair and welcome an au pair into our house. This office was her room. So then we welcomed an au pair, and I had, as you might guess, a spreadsheet to figure out the cost for that. We figured the cost would be around $1,500 or $1,800 a month, all inclusive. Well, then the law changed, and instead of supporting our au pair with an out-of-pocket cost of, I think it was $8,000 a year as a fee, and then every week it was another $200 a week, and all of her living expenses, including room and board, transportation, cell phone, education, all of those sorts of things. Uh, Massachusetts decided that she also deserved to, in addition to every single one of her living expenses, uh, get paid $12.75 an hour. So that added considerably to our daycare costs, and we uh, ended up paying, I think that year it was a total of $41,000 for daycare. Not just to her. I mean, it was also, I figured out what the difference in living costs was. So that was not very cost effective. That was extremely expensive. Um, so I don't recommend going that route. Look at the laws in your state to figure out what you need to pay your au pair. It was definitely not cost effective for us, and don't underestimate living costs. So learn that lesson. After that, let's see, what did we do? It was during COVID. So for a little while, we had our kids at home and went a little insane, went a little crazy. And then after that, we found this amazing place called Payson Park Preschool. It was a nonprofit run out of a church right around the corner. And Eleanor's daycare costs, I think, were $1,050, and Fred's $1,150. So he's still there now. He's 3. He's still there now, and Eleanor's in kindergarten. We had some aftercare costs for her, but we ended up dropping it because she can just come home, and she's almost 6 now. She's happy to FaceTime with her grandparents, and she doesn't really. She just does what she does for another couple hours until we get Fred from daycare or preschool. So that is our childcare story for those who asked, and some tips for how to figure out how to lower your childcare costs. Look everywhere. Look at all the different options. Look at nanny shares. Reach out to those in your neighborhood or nearby. Look at home daycares. We went that route. I just told you. Look at daycare centers. Look at preschools. Try to find nonprofits. They tend to have lower costs than for-profit daycares or preschools, and see what you can do. Now, high cost of living areas like Boston, DC, San Francisco, New York have extremely variable costs when it comes to childcare. I can't tell you that what I did is going to work for you, or that you're going to have the same experience. It depends on state taxes, state laws. It depends on just the cost of living in your area, and what the going rate is. I know a nanny in New York City, at least like 5-10 years ago, was a lot less than a nanny here in Boston, where the going rate is like between 20, 25, and sometimes $30 an hour. So really look into it, call around, do the legwork. It's worth it. It blows my mind when I hear of people around here spending $3,500 a month on daycare for one child, or even $2,500 a month on daycare for one child. Call around, do your legwork, put a spreadsheet together, and really put the time into it. Find out what's best for you, your family, and your child, and do that.